Alright, this is Eric with Just Yacking. I'm going to start doing these on my YouTube, film them or record them from my camera on my phone, then upload them to YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel, Aspiring Music Writer, so check it out. But if you've never heard my name before, I'm going to kind of refresh everybody that watches these videos. I am a music reviewer. I do it for free. I meet a lot of people in the music industry. I started about 2.5 years ago. But I have seen so many artists from the time I was probably in my early 20s, and I'm 33 now. I've seen everybody from George Strait to Hank Williams Jr. to Whiskey Myers, which I will talk about here in a little bit. Ted Nugent, Jason Isbell, Sheryl Crow, Willie Nelson, Alison Krauss, Allison Moore, Hayes Carl, to many, many, many more. The only genre that I have not seen is hip-hop rap. I'd love to see some of them. I just never had the chance. I live in a small town, rural town. The closest, I help River Valley Artists, which is located in Fort Smith, Arkansas, to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I have, sorry, Bugs, I'm outside. I help all the people in the local music scene. I've done reviews, show reviews, and CD reviews from local acts to national acts. Everybody from Guns N' Roses to Channing Wilson. He's a new guy out on the street, or in Nashville. He reminds me a lot of Jamie Johnson. Check him out. He opened up for Corey Smith a few weeks ago when I went and seen him. This is what I do. Hopefully I don't get paid for it, but hopefully one day I will. That's my mission, that and to be a songwriter. I've written like 33 songs in the last 2 years. Some take me 5-10 minutes to write. Some take me a couple months. But today's main topic, which I'm going to talk about, is new album releases in October. 2 have already came out. 2 of my favorite artists in the world. Yes. Whiskey Myers, self-titled, which is their 5th album. It's came out the 27th. And then Sturgill Simpson came out on the same day. 27th or 28th, last week sometime. But check both of them out. Both are, I usually don't do mainstream artists. I do Americana, Southern rock, Texas country, stuff like that, the more independent. And you know, I started out listening to, I know I go back and forth. This is why it's called Just Yacking, because I'll jump from one subject to another. But Whiskey Myers has got a new album. One thing I like about nowadays, when I was a kid, which was in the mid to late 90s, a kid and a teenager and all that good stuff, you had to wait for the single to come out, which was on a new album, and then you had to wait until that album was actually in stores. You know, that's how old, I'm not that old, but that's what we did. You know, I grew up before LimeWire was around. That was a big thing back in the day. Gave you more viruses than a cracked out hooker. out on the street or something. But I mean, that's how I downloaded a lot of music, which I'm really weird, because I actually buy, well, no, I don't buy the albums anymore, because I got really, really expensive, but I got an iTunes subscription to where, now I do buy my favorite ones, but not every one of them, but I've been wanting to get, or been collecting vinyl records. Those been out of print for a long time. And a few years back when I started, I couldn't find it hard unless, it was just somebody that was either selling their granddaddies or in like a pawn shop or something, But now all the new artists are coming out with the vinyl records again, which I love. But Whiskey Myers and Sturgill Simpson. Whiskey Myers is, to me, self-description would be if Hank Williams Jr. and Leonard Skinner had a baby together. That would be Whiskey Myers. I mean, they're country, they're southern rock, they are their own deal. Their sound is so damn different than anything out there on the market and the radio today. I mean, it's a dose of blues, country, outlaw country, southern rock, just a plain rock. They write all their songs, mainly Cody Cannon, lead singer. I know they had a few, I don't know, because I haven't got the actual album. So that's one thing I hate. I hate about iTunes is, you don't get the songwriters, which I know that's like 98% of the people don't give a shit about that. But, I like to see who writes the songs, but, they've got one that Cody Tate or John Jeffers, I can't remember which one it is, co-wrote a song called Bury My Bones with Tennessee Jet. If you haven't heard of Tennessee Jet, look him up. He's actually, I did not know this, but he's actually opened up for Whiskey Myers at the Majestic in Fort Smith, Arkansas on Friday, which I'm going to see. I've seen them 3 or 4 other times. Badass concert every time. They never disappoint. Then they get the first single that they came out, or the song they came out with before the actual album came out, was called "Died Rockin'," and that was co-wrote, with Ray Wally Hubbard. If you do not know who Ray Wally Hubbard is, check him out. He is a Texas troubadour. He's actually from Oklahoma, but he's based out of Texas, and most people know him, the older generation, know him from Up Against a Raw Redneck Mother, which Jerry Jeff Walker recorded. Ray Wally Hubbard wrote, and he thought it was a throwaway song. And I guess one night they were sitting around the campfire or something. He goes, what have you wrote? And he goes, well, I wrote this stupid song. And it became a hit for Jerry Jeff Walker. And, but also, he's also got a song, many songs called Mother Blue, which is an actual true story. Rabbit, which he wrote after his dad had passed. And he was looking at some of his belongings. And there was actually a painting of a dog chasing a rabbit. That's how he got the idea for that song, or part of the idea. I just went blank. But he is so different than any other. I love him because he don't play by anybody's rules. He's always played by his rules. He don't take advice from anybody. He does it the way he wants to. I'm trying to think of some other, a really catchy song he does is called Snake Farm. I think that's one of the audience's favorite ones, but He's got 7, 8, 9 albums out. Check him out. But I mean, and this Whiskey Myers' self-titled album is all over the map to just kick-ass rock and roll, to southern rock, to slow songs like California to Carolina, or Caroline, Houston County Sky, Glitter Ain't Gold, and it is nothing compared to the Dan Seal song. It's totally different. I mean, all over the map, like I said, southern rock, blues, country, outlaw country. There is no covers on this one. The last one, I think they covered David Allen. I think it was on Mud. They covered David Allen Coe's Time Off for Bad Behavior. But they deal with, the songs deal with addiction, just rock and roll, missing home, stuff like that. Also Sturgill, which I did not realize this, or I would have listened to more of Sturgill's new album called Sound and Fury. If you've never heard of Sturgill Simpson, I don't know that much about him, check him out. He is totally different. He reminds me of if the dude from the Doors, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Anyways, the dude from the Doors, I'll think of it here in a minute, and Waylon Jennings was mixed or had a kid. I mean, he started out with like country music, like honky tonk outlaw badass fucking country music, and and the more that he's progressed, he's become more psychedelic rock, and just he mixes so many different types to orchestra. The one before Sound and Fury was a song called A Sailor's Guide, and he had a big band backing him up on a lot of the songs, which I thought was badass. I mean, because you never know. Like a lot of artists, what you're going to get into. Eminem comes out with a new album, it's going to be a rap, hip hop. But like with Sturgill, you don't know what the hell he's got in store. I mean, like I said, he got that song, Turtles All the Way Down. That's all about drugs, from what I've read. But I was funny because I was reading a little bio of this Sound and Fury, which is Sturgill's new album, and I guess, which I didn't know this, but he had sinus surgery, I guess, and I guess before he started recording all the songs for Sound and Fury, and I guess this is what the bio said. So I'm outside and I get distracted easy. Jim Morrison, I knew I'd remember, of the Doors, but anyways, but he was talking about how he had sinus surgery and he felt so shitty. His doctor gave him Percocet, but he didn't want to take that because I guess he's trying to get off the hard drugs. I don't know for sure. Hang on, let this whatever go by. But anyways, and he got a bunch of, edibles, and he apparently just got stoned and started writing a bunch of music, and it's badass. Now, I am different. I was raised up Catholic. I still am a very spiritual person. I don't go to church every Sunday like I should. I do wrong. I'm not the perfect Christian. And I didn't even know where I was going with that. But I believe marijuana is a good thing. You can disagree with me at all. I mean, it to me, and this is just my belief. Now, cocaine and all, heroin and all that other shit, no, it's not. But to me, marijuana is naturally made from the ground. It is made by God. And I think He put it on this planet for a reason. And I think if we, or not we, but the doctors would get everybody off actual, psychosis medicine, which I'm on too, which does help me. That's why I'm not drinking tonight, because I gotta take my medicine. But, I think marijuana is good for a lot of things. Good for anxiety. There's so many, it's good for, cancer, I think. Someone on their deathbed and they're out, give them marijuana or a joint or edible or whatever, which, and also, it's becoming more legal everywhere, which I'm glad, because I look at it more as, recreational. I'll tell you this. I've been around musicians for the past, 3-4 years that are on marijuana. Never had a problem with them. But I've been around people that are drunks or alcoholics or people that drink. And it's more, I hate putting up with them more than I do a pothead. I'll admit it. I don't smoke it. I've never tried it. I don't know if I would. If I did, it would be like an edible or a marijuana brownie. But that's only like if I did it with like Cody Canada or Willie Nelson. I could care less about it. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Took out Sturgill Simpson's Sound and Fury. He's supposed to have I don't know if it's on Netflix right now, but a Netflix special about the new album, Anime. I don't know if I'll like it. I'm not that much into anime and stuff like that. But check it out if you're a Sturgill Simpson fan. Check it out if you're not a Sturgill Simpson fan and you're a fan that's just music fan that's hungry for music and not just for popping out another hit and just go down the background, blah, 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 same shit, different day. Which, going back to Whiskey Myers, they got a song on theirs called Bitch, which is exactly about stuff like that, same old shit, different day. There's so many songs you can write about a freaking truck. I'm sorry, but there is. I'm also a singer, but also, now, there's some other albums coming out this month in the Americana independent, what I call independent, but red dirt, Texas country, shit like that. Miranda Lambert, but I still consider her country, or Texas country, not really traditional country, but Texas country. Because if you take a look at her albums from a full perspective, there's still some pretty badass, acoustic songs and traditional country songs. She's got the stuff that they play on the radio, like Little Red Wagon and stuff like that, but which I didn't know on her last double album that Jack Ingram wrote Tin Man. It was actually, and I seen him and Hayes Carl put on an acoustic show a few months back, and he sang it, and I got to doing some research, and he actually, I can't remember if he co-wrote it with Miranda Lambert, but he was like the main writer. Also, Chris Knight, he's got a new album coming out, Almost Daylight. One of the baddest sons of bitches to ever pick up a pen and write a song. But I think he's got 3 songs out, 3 or 4. There's one he did with Americana artist John Prine, which he's influenced big time by John Prine. But I think there's 1 or 2 videos on his YouTube channel, so check him out. like I said, we talked about Miranda, or I talked about Miranda Lambert. Allison Moore, which she was married to Steve Earle for a long time, and they got divorced, and now she's with Hayes Carl. I've actually seen her with Hayes do a song or two. She's got an album and a biography coming out, which I'm really looking forward to that, getting that at Christmas or whenever. And Rustin Kelly, he's different. I haven't really studied his new album, or I think it's called Emo something or other, I can't remember. But he's married to Casey Musgraves. Check him out. He's different. He's not same old shit like Luke Bryan or, just Florida Georgia Line, that same crap every day. But those are some new, I don't know if there's any more albums. If there is and you watch this on YouTube, let me know. Because I don't know. I try to get all other than the mainstream. Or it's not that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not me. But I mean, I know they'll sell albums like no other. But I love the independent artists that stick to their guns. I'm a songwriter, or I say lyricist, because I don't write any music to my songs. But I've written over 30 songs in the past 2 years. I think this is my 33rd or 34th song that I've written. But about a month ago, I listened a little bit of Billy Ray Cyrus. I won't apologize. If you take, like, his early stuff, if you take, like, Without Achy Breaky Heart, which they played the freaking shit out of that, and that got old pretty quick. But there's a song on I think it's his very first album, called Could Have Been Me. And it's about this guy that wishes he would have proposed to this woman, and she's getting married. But anyways, I was sitting there, and every now and then, I'm a 90s kid in early 2000s. So, I grew up listening to people like Billy Ray Cyrus, Neil McCoy, Toby Keith, Alan Jackson, a bunch of other 90s artists. But I was like, man, if the ring was on my hand, and I was like, that'd be a badass song to write, and if you know me, I don't know if you're new to this channel, but subscribe. I got 11 subscribers, which, it takes time to, get going, but subscribe, because I'll be doing this more and more. But I am heavily influenced by Chris Knight. And it's weird about my songs, because I don't know if, I don't brag on myself too much, but I consider myself a Stephen King of songwriters, because some songs are so long, or not so long, but like they'll have 4 or 5 verses, and sometimes not even a chorus. And this one's like that. There's a chorus to it, but it's 5 verses. But I couldn't take any of it out because every verse goes, I call it little mini stories. And I've got that from Chris Knight, because I've studied Chris Knight songwriting for a long time, or past few years. And what I love about Chris Knight is that he has little stories in between, that make up his songs. They're not just like verse, chorus out there, they're, songs and stories. He's a storyteller. And that's what I try to become. Want to become anyways. I've got the songs that, are catchy, and I got the songs where you really got to look at it from a different perspective, but also I'm working on a novel. I'm hoping, after I gotta do some show reviews, local show reviews. I went and seen The New West. Found Factory and Exit 101. They're out of the Fort Smith River Valley area. If you get a chance, look them up on however you get your music. The New West, I think, has got one song out. They're a very new band, but they are a very good rock band. They're all rock bands that I just mentioned, but they're all different. But like, check out your local scene. You know, every band was a local band at one time. Even the Stones, and the Beatles, you know. But check them out. Like I said, I got a One Last Dance with the Devil is what my novel is. Since I'm putting this on my YouTube, I'm gonna go back and tell you how I kind of came about this. And then that'll be the end of this video. But I got years ago, Chris Knight, like I said, songwriter, had came out with a song called Hard Edges. And I can't remember what album it was on. I think it was on, might have been called All Edges. In 2006, I can't remember what the album was called. But anyways, and there was a song called Hard Edges. And it's about this woman that just goes through a horrible childhood. Her daddy was a drunk. She hates the smell of whiskey because it makes her think of her dad, and she ends up becoming a stripper because that's the only way she knows to make money. I was like, man, that'd be a badass story. But I was like, it's not complete. It's really not complete. But what was funny is I didn't care much for it on the actual album that it came out on the first time. But he came out with two acoustic albums called The Trailer Tapes and Trailer Tapes 2. Now, I think it was on Trailer Tapes 2, and it was acoustic one, but he had like a haunting, like, what's that? Deliverance, like banjo type music. I was like, man, that banjo just makes that song 10 times better. And then if it weren't for Cross Canadian Ragweed, I would have never gotten into any of this. But I took that in A Sick and Tired, which is about this girl that ends up leaving her small town, ends up stripping a club, and it's not as good as she thought it would be, and she comes back home. So I collaborated those two song ideas and made my own. And I got a bunch of other stuff I'm writing. Hopefully I'll get it finished one day, but I got some show reviews to do. Check out my blog page, Aspiring Music Blogger. I hadn't wrote a blog in a while, but everybody I knew that I see, I write a blog on. Now I'm not gonna do. I'm going to see I don't know if I'll do one on Whiskey Myers Friday. I might Tennessee Jet, but I don't know about, because after a while it becomes the same old. And, you know, I like different things, but I mean, like I said, last time I went and seen Cross Canadian Ragweed, or Cody Cam the Departed, sorry. He had brought his kids out that they played constantly, which was a Ragweed tune. A Pearl Jam tune, and a Tom Petty tune. I've got them on my YouTube page, so check them out. And I'll let you know when I'll have my next Just Yacking. So look for this. Check y'all later.